Right, so for of sum, we're going to do divide by the bottom times by the top. And that's why 32 divided by 8 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. At number 2, we are working out a fraction of a whole, so we just put it over the whole. 7 over 63, and we simplify that. At number 3, it's again an of sum. Divide by the bottom, which gives me 28, and then times by the top, and that ends up with 56. And at number 4, we're going to firstly work out how many blue ones there are. If they say there's 24 beads, and we have, and 8 are red, 10 are white, so 18 of them are other colors than blue, then, and the rest is blue, we do a minus sum. But that's not the final answer. We then take the blue beads and we say out of the total amount of beads, so we make it a fraction and we simplify that fraction. Okay, now we can go on to number 5. A farmer has 50 sheep and 20 cows. Calculate the fraction of his animals that are cows. So 20 are cows, but what was important is that the fraction of animals. So you had to work out how much animals he had. Now, I hope that in grade 1 you learned that sheep and cows are animals. So, truly, that's 20 out of 70. Some of you stuck to 50 or... so it's 20 out of 70, which simplifies to 2 over 7. Calculate the sum of the shaded fractions. Firstly, you have to write them as fractions. This one is, the green one is 3 over 8. And the blue one, the orange one is 9 out of 16. And now you must plus. What's the rule for plussing fractions?
Oh, you have to change it to the
same denominator. Like Darren says, the bottom must be the same. So we need to change one of these to look the same. Now 8 can luckily go into 16, so I'm just going to times it by 2 to make it a 16. So the sum then ends up being 6 over 16 plus 9 over 16, and now I can plus them. So 15 over 16. Write these decimals as a sum of fractions that have denominators that are multiples of 10, and this one I did on the board for you. So I said to you, that just means writing it as expanded notation, and in your expanded notation you tell me that that is the tenths, that the number 2 is in the hundredths place, and the number 5 is in the thousandths place. Do you see that my denominators at the bottom, they are counting in tens. They are tens or hundreds or thousands. So they are not counting in tens. They are, as the sum says, denominators that are multiples of 10. The next one worked the same. When we had 0,0036, there was nothing in the whole numbers, nothing in the tenths, nothing in the hundredths. The 3 was in the thousandths place, and the 6 was in the 10,000ths place. 6 over 10,000. A rectangular rug, and the moment I read a sum like that, I always make a little drawing for myself. It's a rectangle, it's a rug, it's 1,65 meters by 1,45 meters. Calculate the area of the rug correct to 1 decimal place. You seem to be fine with area, but your rounding off is a little faulty. 1.65 times 1.45. I think you all did the times sum, but then that's 2,392. I think my calculator rounds it off already. Now that's not your final answer. Your answer needs to be rounded to 1 decimal place, as the sum says. So guys, you have to look at Where is 1 decimal place? It's here. So you just want to keep that one, but you have to check before you throw the other decimals away. Is its neighbor bigger or smaller? So that 9 is bigger than 5. So it's going to tell the 3 to change. So it's going to be 2,4. And then I was concerned that many of you are not writing units. Remember your units. And remember this was area that they were asking you about, and area is measured in meters squared. So also not just meters. For now, I didn't deduct any marks for missing units or incorrect units. But in grade 8, you always lose a mark if your unit is not correct. So you have to practice it now. Calculate the percentage decrease, and I'm going to go to a next page for this one. It's a nice long one. The percentage decrease if the petrol goes down from 12 Rand to 10 Rand 80 per litre. So the rule for percentage increase or decrease is as follows. You always do the difference over, sorry, yes, this is number 9. You do the difference over the original price, the price it was first. And you get that answer as a fraction. And you then turn that fraction into a fraction out of 100, which will then be a percentage. Okay, that was my tip that I put on the board for you. Now let's use this method and actually work this one out. So 12, the difference between 12 and 10.8, remember difference means? Minus. So what is 12 minus 10.8? I just want to remind you, if your mental maths fails you here, you can always go and do that. Add 2 zeros after your 12, borrow from the 2, make that 0 minus, okay, so that's then a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. Then you can do 1 minus 0 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So it'll be 1 Rand 20. I can check with inverse if 1 Rand 20 plus 10 Rand 80 will give me 12 Rand, just to check that I'm right. Okay. You don't like working with decimals in fractions, I'm sure. So I'm just going to make it 120 cents instead of 1 Rand 20. Your original price was
12 Rand.
12 Rand. The 12 Rand I am going to make in cents as well. So 12 Rand is how many cents?
1,200.
1,200 cents. Now all I need to do is get this fraction to be a fraction out of 100. I can't remember, you were using a calculator, weren't you? So on a calculator it's much easier. It's top divided by bottom times 100. Let me just see if we could simplify it easily. That would be 12 over 120. I just want to see if we then divide by 6, what would we get?
2
We'd get 2 over 20, and that'll be 1 over 10, and that'll be 10 over 100. Maybe I'm taking a very long route here, but I'm just looking at ways I can figure out how this is a fraction out of 100.
10%.
And that is 10%. On your calculator, grade 7s, on your calculator, like I said, you take the top number, 120 cents, you divide it by 1,200 cents, and you times it by 100, and that's a percentage. Just like you work out your percentage for your test mark. Can I erase this? I'm going to erase this little scribble here, but I'm going to leave the rest. That was just my simplifying of my fraction. Yes, Joshua?
Teacher, I just worked it out by saying, so, teacher, I just thought what can go into 12 10 times. So, teacher, worked out 12 minus what is 10,80 Rand, and teacher, that's 1,2, which is 10% of 12.
Yes, I think you're taking maybe a longer route than I did, but again, you could just see that 12 is 10% of 120. Just like 5 is 10% of 50. Remember, I think we're past that, but we used to tip 10% at a restaurant. So if the bill was 300 rand, I would tip 30 rand. If the bill was 100 rand, I would tip 10 rand. And if the bill was 50 rand, 50, I would tip 5 rand. So in that sense, you can see that 12 is 10% of 120. Number 10. Most of you did fine in this rule, but there's a few of you that got a little confused. I think by now you're actually better with this already because we've been working with this now after the test. But just a reminder that if 20 goes into the rule 3a plus 5, then you need to put the 20 into the block or where the a used to be, and that means 3 times 20. Some of you did a plus, but I think, like I said, by now you must have learned that it's times. So 3 times 20 is 60, and that'll then be 65. Okay. The next one we worked out is 45 then. So you would take 3 times 45 plus 5, and that gave me 140. And the last one that I put